Hey, Metal Maniacs, this is Lars from Manticora, and you're cranking it up on Dave Softee's Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio.
shadowed by the hills. Animosity didn't exist. Or was it all a lie? Was it just a dream? Frostbitten feet running across the muddy plains, a weight on his shoulder, a burden to carry, a life to save. The last remains of his bloodline collapsing on the stone cold floor as darkness eats his consciousness. His reason to live, drawing her last breath, but oblivion takes his anxiety away. He wakes up to find her gone, buried under stony soil. The rage and thoughts of revenge makes his frozen blood boil, tranquilizing with deep in meditation, roaming through my mind to a time that was before. Flashback to never again. In the time of happy days, tears running down my face. In the time of happy days, all was so perfect then. In the time of happy days, in the time. In the time of happy days.
Alrighty, Metal Maniacs, here we go. Please help me welcome to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Copenhagen, Denmark. We are honored to have joining us from progressive power metal band Manticora, frontman and founding member Lars F. Larsen. Welcome, Lars. How are you?
Thank you very much. Well, I'm doing fine here. We actually just had a little family gathering because it's my wife's birthday today. So had a lot of delicious cake and
Very
some
nice.
coffee.
Happy birthday to your wife, and thank you for coming on the show. It's this is our first time getting together to do an interview for Manticora, and I really appreciate that you're here. So thank you so much for that.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here. It's kind of good to be in quotation marks back in New York.
Right. And I have to say, it's an honor to get with you, and the timing is perfect as you have your new offering, the band's 9th release, To Live, To Kill, To Live, which is the follow-up to To Kill, To Live, To Kill. Right.
Exactly.
And this is out on.
I think they're calling it ViciSolum with a K sound. I actually don't know. I would call it ViciSolum if it was up to me.
Okay, I'm going with what you say. ViciSolum. You got that. Yeah, and so I'm very curious to know. I mean, getting this music out there, how has this COVID pandemic treated you in the band? Did it slow down the process of getting this offering out there?
No, actually not. You know, it's to put it very bluntly, it's a blessing in disguise with this Corona madness. The whole country of Denmark shut down on March 11th, and we were supposed to go into the studio to record drums on March 12th. As you might know, we have a Swedish drummer now, so. On the night of the 11th, Jacob Hansen from the studio called us and said, guys, we have to cancel. It's simply not possible to get this done now. So we canceled the studio, or at least the drum recordings. And we just sat there and looked at each other and said, well, what the fuck should we do? So Kristian and I decided, Kristian being the guitarist and founding member as well, we decided to purchase all the equipment that we needed to record vocals for the album, because we knew what to sing, we knew what to do with the vocals, and we had the demos and the keyboards done already. So we talked to Jacob Hansen, got the right equipment, and we started recording vocals in Kristian's basement. But by doing this, we were actually able to spend the 2 months that I was sent home from work, my civil work, just recording vocals all the time. Normally in the old days, when I would be recording vocals, I'm always the last one to go into the studio when everything else is recorded, and it's like, hey Lars, you have 2 days, you have to record all those 10, 12 songs in 2 days, and you're standing there thinking, shit, my voice is cranky today, and it doesn't matter, you have to do the job. And sometimes you come out of the studio and think, well, it wasn't 100% correct. It was like 95, 96%, and it has to be this product that we use. But now we just use 2 months to. Can I swear?
Of course, you can say whatever the fuck you want. No problem.
Okay. we use those 2 months to fly fuck every goddamn small detail in the vocals, and in the middle of that, they opened up a little bit, so we got to record the drums. And we could record the guitars at Kristian's basement as well, and the bass. This has done that. This has caused for the vocals to be absolutely 200% better than the vocals have ever been on any Manticora album. So it was a blessing in disguise for me, at least, because finally my voice came out the way I wanted.
I have to ask you a question about your voice on this offering. Is it all you on this offering, or do you have any guest vocals? Because I'm hearing some harsher vocals, and I really love it.
Oh yeah, there's actually several guest musicians. First of all, we got June Park, who sang in the progressive metal band Clandestine from California. She's doing the female vocals on the song called Slaughter in the Desert Room. Then we have a Danish girl growling in the
Yeah.
first song
Yeah.
of the album, Katrina Martin Dragonflies. But she's growling in a very, very small part of it, because that part is a female in the book that we're describing, and like a very angry female woman. So she's growling there. Then we have a guest growler called Michael Anderson from the Danish death metal band Withering Surface. He's doing more or less all the growling and screaming. And then we have our guitarist Stefan. He's doing the deep growls, where I'm singing on top of the growls. So there's actually quite a few different voices. I'm not growling myself, because my voice is not.
I didn't think so, but I have to tell you, it sounds so good. I'm really happy with this offering, and I've been a fan of Manticora for a long time. But this I really enjoy that difference with the growls with that. It goes really well. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, I'm quite satisfied with it as well. You know, it's like one thing is enhancing the other thing. It's they're contemplating each other and making everything sound better, because you have this this other side of the spectrum that suddenly makes everything more
And
interesting.
let's learn more about this brand new release and the fact that you were telling me about. It's based on a book that you've written, and the pictures that come with it. I saw one in a bubble suit, and I saw more like the band like looking like gangsters. It really popped to me. I really like that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know more about this book and everything related to it, and then I'd like to know more about what the process of writing the music and lyrics for this album was, and then we'll continue after that.
Alrighty. Well, to make a short story very long,
Here we go.
Here we go. In '99, I was at a party at the college dorm that Kristian was living at, and three guys stopped by and remolded my face for no apparent reason. A completely unmotivated attack. I was on my way to bed and hadn't done anything. So these three guys thought that my face needed a bit of a remolding. So I ended up in the hospital with a broken chin bone and a broken nose and other
Holy
small
shit!
injuries.
Wow, really?
Oh
my God.
Yeah. Three fucking assholes. Well, the police didn't really do anything about it. You know, they probably thought, well, you long-haired guy, you probably did something yourself to get this this treatment. So they didn't catch anybody. And for like 10 years after that, I have been having problems with waking up with the nightmares, you know, like waking up in an extreme sweat, and having problems with sitting in front of my computer, waking up after 5 minutes, you know, having been inside this bubble or whatever you call it, and not realizing that 5 minutes have been passing by with me sitting there flexing my muscles, grinding my teeth, and suddenly realize what the fuck's going on. So I think I've had some kind of PTSD or something like that. And I didn't know what to do about it. I had problems breathing, and I think it was my brother who told me, well, Lars, try to sit down with a piece of paper, just begin writing down what happened. Just write something. It doesn't have to be something particular, or just write something about what happened. And I thought, okay, what the fuck, I can try it. If it doesn't work, no harm done. So I began writing something down about how I wanted to kill these three people in the most nasty way that I could come up with. And in my imagination, I would have this imaginary house and an imaginary basement where I disposed of these people. At the same time, while writing this, I had this dream about a small Chinese boy, like 100 years ago, standing somewhere in China with those strange mountains they have down there, standing on a little dunghill with a katana sword, swinging it in the afternoon sun and killing small animals flying in the air. And I began writing a story about that, and suddenly in my mind I thought, well, okay, now I have 55 pages. This is going to be a book. So it developed, and I began writing more and more about it, and then I added a story about a hitman, quite a normal hitman, you know, the way hitman works, and I began mingling these three stories together. Then back in 2014, 4 years after our last album, Kristian and I was sitting in Kristian's garden here in Copenhagen and talking about if we had reached all our goals, if we had finally done all we had to do. We played Wacken in Germany, the biggest festival in the world. We had been on tour in Europe and in North America and released albums. So should we just call it a day or should we try to continue? And I told him, well, I'm working on this book, Kristian, and we could just outdo ourselves and do a double album on this book. So we released a book at the same time as releasing like 25 songs or something. And we had a lot of gin and a lot of red wine, and 4 o'clock in the morning or something, he just said, well, Lars, fuck it, let's do it. But in our own tempo, at our own pace. I don't want any record label breathing down my neck or telling me you have a deadline here or there. We're doing it for ourselves, and then we're going to outdo ourselves tremendously. And we agreed to do that, and this is just history.
Wow. This makes for a great book, but you know what else? It would make for a great movie. Do you consider maybe making a movie from this? I think it would be great.
I don't have the skills for that. But you know what? I think 9 out of 10 interviewers have told me this. Hey, you need to make a movie about it. And they're asking me who should direct it and all that. So it's kind of shaping up now. So maybe I should contact somebody.
Maybe contact like Netflix. Maybe they would be interested in purchasing your book and then taking it from there. That might work out for you.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a possibility. I think
it would be great. And back in 1996, Manticora formed with Kristian and yourself. And as you just told me, he's not your brother. I always thought he was your brother. And the band formed as Manticora, but then in 1997, I see that you've changed the name to Manticora. You've been around for over 20 years, and that's a blessing right there. But would you be kind enough to inform the listeners on who currently makes up the rest of the band's lineup?
Well, the bass player is the guy who entered the band in 2002, Kasper Gram, who also played on Hyperion, 8 Deadly Sins, and the Circus albums plus Safe. He went out of the band in 2013, I remember, to pursue some other musical interests. He was getting more and more into death metal, and he just said, guys, I'm not interested in making this kind of music anymore, and I'd rather leave in a good friend spirit than getting into a sour mood and leave in 2 years when everything is sounding like shit. So, and we stayed friends. So when he came back in 2 years ago, I spoke to him and he said, well, maybe I'm missing a band to play in again and all that. And that was the time when we were actually kicking Sebastian out, the bass player that we had from 14 to 18. So I said, well, you want to rejoin Manticora? And he said, yeah, why the fuck not? So Kasper's back in the band, Kasper Gram. Then our lead guitarist is Stefan Johansson. He actually toured with us in 2005 in Europe when we opened for Angra, because the lead guitarist at that point wasn't able to tour. So we hired Stefan, and when Martin, the old lead guitarist, went out of the band, we called Stefan immediately and said, hey, you want the job in the band? And he just said yes. So that's the lead guitarist. And then we have been using Lars Dinamarca from Sweden on drums for the last 2 albums. He's the guy, the drummer from 1,000 bands, Night Rage, Lock Vostok, and several other bands that he's playing in. I knew him from Lock Vostok since I'm their manager, and he agreed to do the drumming. And like a year ago, we agreed that he simply needed to be in the band, and he wanted to be in the band. So Lawrence Dinamarca is the drummer now.
Very cool. Now, I must tell you, from chatting with you on Facebook and what you were just telling me, I find it amazing how bands that are in metal of any kind, out of nowhere, decide they don't want to be in metal anymore. They want to be pop or something like this. And one thing I have to say about your voice, I mean, after all these years, your voice has never changed. It's top of the line. It's very distinctive. And as I was telling you or asking you about this Rain Time tune, another transition. From hearing this for a few years, I'm saying it sounds so much like Lars, and so I had to ask you, and you told me that it was you and that you managed the band. But they were one of the bands that I really loved. It had all the elements of melodic death and progressive metal all rolled into one. And then they decided they didn't want to be metal, and they became, I think they call themselves False Idols, a pop or rock band. And I never understood that. I love their first two offerings, by the way, but I had never any idea that you had managed them. But that's a quite interesting story to me because I'm a fan.
Yeah, but it's actually funny because I really dig their music as well, and my wife is Italian, so I was able to chat a little bit with them in Italian, and we managed them, me and my partner on the instrumental agency, and they wanted to record the album in Denmark with Tommy Hansen, the old Halloween producer. And he just asked me, "Hey Lars, do you want to do the refrain on this song?" I said, "Yeah, why the fuck not? It's like 100 kilometers everywhere each way." So I went over there. They cooked me some pasta, and we had a good time. And suddenly we just had mails from them. "Oh, we're not gonna be in your agency anymore. We just want to try things ourselves." Well, it always
Shit
happens like
happens,
that,
yeah,
when
yeah.
bands want to try things out themselves, yeah. And then nothing more happens with those bands. It's I don't know why they changed the style completely, but I think they changed a couple of guys in the band, and that kind of creates a different vibe, and people want to go elsewhere with the
It ha-
music.
it,
For my
it happens,
sorry?
yeah. It happens.
Yeah, definitely. Regarding my voice, it's just it's a hate it or lose it voice. I think it's as simple as that because it's really distinct. I think I sound quite normal when I talk, but when I sing, it's like a very nasal, and people say I sound like Hansi Kirsch, but then again, not. Some people say I sound like Waldane, which I don't think so, and then again, not. It's like this special voice that you have to get used to be able to like. I don't think anybody has ever heard Manticora from the beginning and say, "Oh, that's a fucking great voice." So it's kind of a, what do you call it, a taste that you have to get used to.
I don't agree with that. I find it very easy to listen to and very distinctive, and I'm glad you still have that great voice. And I also want to just give you my opinion of your band. Although you are considered a progressive power metal band, I also
Yeah,
feel that you have lots of elements of thrash within your sound too, and I think
yeah,
that's why
absolutely.
I really enjoy the music because you have all these elements and it really is kick-ass stuff. And I've followed you for a long time, so I'm really happy that we're getting to do this today. And one thing that we do these interviews for is to help promote the band as far as we're talking about merchandise. So I'd like to know where would be the best place for a Manticora fan to get a copy, physical copy of the new CD and whatever merch you may have. I'm going to give the Bandcamp and other links. You have manticora.bandcamp.com. You have your website,
Yeah.
that's manticora.dk. You can click on the shop link there. And then you have your Facebook, of course, facebook.com/Manticora Band. Where would you say would be the best and the easiest place for a Manticora fan to get merchandise?
For a US fan, it would be easiest at merchbooth.net. We have a page there. You can also buy it through our own homepage, manticora.dk, but that would mean we need to send it from Europe to
Oh,
the
okay.
United States. It makes much more sense because you can get the same thing on the US page. So that's merchbooth.net.
Merchbooth.net. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No
And
problem at all.
currently, what merch does Manticora have available? And how about like the back catalog? Is all the CDs available for the fans?
Yeah, I mean, we have various T-shirts, front page T-shirts from the last couple of albums. We have hoodies, we have beanies, and all kinds of different shit. I think the old CDs are available in the US through Nightmare Records. They have all the CDs up until the 2010 album called Safe, and the new two releases would be well, I guess people today are not really buying physical CDs anymore, are they? So I think Bandcamp would be the easiest place to find stuff if people want to go for digital. But if they want the physical CDs, they would have to go through the page called Sound Pollution. That's the official distributor in Sweden, which also ships out to the rest
I
of the
see.
world.
Do you have any vinyl available, by the way?
Yeah, we do. See, that's a cool thing you mentioned there because we never had vinyls before on any of the albums. So we released the To Kill CD in 2018, and we presented the new artwork for the new album to our record label boss, and he immediately said, "Guys, why don't we do a double album on vinyl when the new album comes out?" And I said, "Well, that's cool because we never had a vinyl before, so why not go all in on this one when we release the new one?" So it's a triple album gatefold vinyl.
Beautiful.
That we released. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. I'm not really the vinyl guy, but type of guy, but when I saw this product, I just thought, what the hell, this really looks good. And that's available through Sound Pollution, and this shit.
Well, that's why I mentioned the vinyl. People love to hold the vinyl in their hands, so the book of it, the LP, hold it in their hand,
Yeah.
look at the imagery, and that's what people really love the LPs for. That maybe the digital format sounds really good and all that, but I also realize cassettes are making a resurgence. I never understood that, because whenever I had cassettes, they always got warped from playing them too much, and the sound was never good. But do you have cassettes as well?
No,
Yeah,
unfortunately
yeah.
not. I had the same notion as you when I heard about cassettes making a comeback. I thought, what the fuck? Who want to listen to that shit?
Exactly. And then you got to find like cars today. They're built with a CD player, but you don't have a cassette player in there. So there you have to find a cassette player, and then with the vinyl also, you have to make sure you have a phonograph, and sometimes they're hard to find. So we're holding on to nostalgia. I guess that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I understand the LPs because you have the chance of actually throwing the nice imagery in the face of people, and they can really dig into the small details that you cannot see on a CD cover. So I understand that part of it. I also understand the vinyl listening experience because it's a much warmer sound that you're able to do for the vinyl production. I mean, when you have to do the final master, there's a difference between doing a master for a CD and a master for a vinyl. It's much warmer than the vinyl sound, but the tape doesn't make sense because the tape is well, it doesn't have a warm sound at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. And let's get back to this COVID situation. Obviously, because of COVID, the band really hasn't been able to perform out there, so that really sucks because I'm sure your fans want to see you out there. And I see you have some shows coming up with Artillery in the new year. And so when do you think you will be able to perform again in front of your crowds?
Well, I have a strong idea that the vaccine for this horrible shit will be here in early spring or late winter. And if they begin vaccinating people at that point, I think the touring business should be up and running about late spring or early summer. Also because, when it's late spring, early summer, it's getting hotter and people can go outside and we don't contaminate each other so much, which means that the contamination numbers are going down at that point, no matter what. And if you have a vaccine at the same time, it should be possible at that point. So I think May or June for Europe should be possible. But right now, what I can see from my other job, the instrumental booking agency that I have, is that a lot of tours are getting canceled also in the spring in Europe because people are just afraid of booking too much and having to reschedule all the time and cancel things. So it's a little bit hard right now. So the only thing we can do is actually play those shows like we do with Artillery, where it's seated shows for 20% of the actual capacity of the venues. So we did one in here in Copenhagen on September 4th, right after the album came out, and in a venue with a capacity of 1,500 people, and we had a capacity of 310 exactly. And they were all seated, and they all had to have distance between each other and all that. We can still do those shows in Denmark, but only in Denmark because we're not allowed to even go to Sweden or Germany or anything else. It's
I
it's a little bit
understand,
fucked up. And we're talking about a new strain of virus actually coming out of the mink farms in Denmark.
Well, as you know, we just had our new election over here, and I'm hearing the pandemic is growing like 100,000 people are getting this virus daily. 100,000 a day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
people, they don't want to do what's right for them. They want to do what they want to do. They don't want to wear the mask. They don't want to social distance. And then they're contaminating each other.
So whatever I'm going to say now is going to bash 50%
I hear
of the
I hear
population
you.
there.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm not really talking politics.
I'm
I'm just saying that the pandemic is growing by the numbers every day. 100,000 people. That's fucked up. That's just all I'm saying about that. But you know,
Definitely.
Artillery and Manticora performing together on stage, that's got to be a killer show. So
we had a great time out in here in Copenhagen when we played together, and I've been knowing Michael from Artillery for like 30 years or something. He's a pretty funny dude, always with the most fucking corny jokes you can imagine. So we had a good time together, and we share equipment on stage, and no divas, no quarrels, no nothing, just relaxed Danish people drinking a beer together and playing some good shows. So that was a pretty good
excellent.
experience.
And I hope when this COVID is all over with, that Artillery and Manticora can come to the States to tour. That would be beautiful.
That would absolutely rock. And I cannot rule out that scenario, actually, because we're playing several shows together, as you mentioned, and we're socially also working fine together. So I wouldn't
Let's
rule
hope
that
this
out.
happens. And let's talk videos at this time. I noticed on the ViciSolum page the Manticora video for The Farmer's Tale Part 3, Eaten by the Beasts. Can we learn more about this, the making of this video? And will there be other
Yeah.
videos for the Manticora fans for this offering?
It's almost like you are an oracle, because you just hit the hammer on the nail. There will be another video coming out on Tuesday. You are the first media to know.
Thank you so much.
Actually. It's a lyrical video, but with some live stuff as well inside. So it's kind of a mixed video and lyrical video for the song called Katana, Death of the Meaning of Life. But regarding the Farmer's Tale Part 3 video, it's part of the book where the hitman is in Sweden visiting this farmer who tells us a horrible story about his daughter being raped and attacked by this criminal asshole. And when he's telling the story, he's also bringing the hitman back in time to his own childhood, to the farmer's childhood, to explain how horrible the situation is, because this girl is being raped and attacked at the same place as the farmer's family more or less died and was blown to smithereens. We have divided that story into 3 stories, so 2 of them are on the first album, and the last one is on this last album. And in the last story, which we made a video about, the girl is being raped, and the farmer is hiring the hitman to kill that motherfucker who did it. And he's actually doing it by way of being eaten by 6 large pigs. So it's kind of a horrible story, but it's a karma story, you know. If you do something like that, you should be punished for it. And this guy's being punished severely.
You give such graphic detail, and I really appreciate that.
No problem. You should read the book, then you will see what graphic details.
And how can I get this book?
You know what? If you just send me the address after the show, I'm going to send one.
I appreciate that. You tell me whatever you need from me, and I'll definitely send it over to you. Thank you so much for that. And
no, but it's brief for journalists.
Would you like to talk about what you do when you're not doing the band? Do you have anything else that keeps you occupied while you're not doing Manticora?
Oh yeah. First of all, I'm running the instrumental management and booking agency. We're working worldwide, so we have bands from Denmark, Sweden, USA, and Australia, and things like that. It's been it was 96, I think it was founded, so that's like 24 years. I've been in management since 2000, and now I own the management and run it. Then I'm working in a physiotherapy 14 hours per week. It's like a part-time job, where I also am a personal trainer, a fitness trainer. Apart from that, I do merchandise for a company called Target Merch here in Denmark for bands that need T-shirts and all that. And I do some booking for Target Booking here in Denmark as well. Plus, I am part of a festival that's taking place next year. And then I have Manticora.
Are you? That
So
is a
that's
lot, but are you also affiliated with any other bands at this time?
No, not at all. It's all Manticora. I used to sing in an Iron Maiden jam band here in Copenhagen, but I stopped like 3 years ago because I just thought I have to put all my eggs into one band, and this was only cover stuff. So it's only
Okay,
Manticora.
good to understand that. I also thought that you had been in one time in like a thrash metal band. I'm not sure about that though.
Yeah, but I did one album with a band called Fool's Game, an American band, with John McAlooza on drums, and who else was in that band? I almost can't remember. Matt, I don't know, from the band Pharaoh?
Pharaoh, yes.
Yeah, the guitarist Matt from Pharaoh was also in the band. And we had Nick from Redemption on keyboards. He's actually playing guitars in Redemption, but he played keyboards on the album. It was kind of an all-star band, but smaller
I
stars.
see. Yeah, Pharaoh, if I remember correctly, the vocalist of Pharaoh was in Control Denied, the Chuck Schuldiner band before he passed. Right.
Exactly, and he actually he did one song on the album together with me. We did a duet on that album, on the Fool's Game album. But it was only one album, and we had an idea that we were going to do another album, but it just never happened because I didn't have the time, and I had to write all the lyrics, and it was just too much. So
that's totally understandable, and I do thank you for your information. I do totally appreciate that. Hey, Lars, at this time, is there anything that you would like to say to your fans that are tuning in now?
Well, since you are in the Big Apple right now, I just want to tell you guys that it's one of my dreams to play in the Big Apple again. We just did it 2 years ago when we played in what's called Mercury Lounge together with Persephone, and it was an awesome experience. For a guy from a small country like Denmark, it's extremely cool to come to the US and see all these things that we see in the movies, and just standing there on fucking Manhattan and knowing that you're playing a show on Manhattan, this small Danish band, was like a dream come true. So here's another dream from me. I'm coming back, and I can almost guarantee you that. And I want all you metal fans from New York to be there at that point. And I hope we can spread the word enough to see
I will have to be there at that time and do a follow-up interview with you. And Persephone, my God, they are a great band from Andorra, which is a really small country. I love that band.
I love them. I love them. That album, Spiritual Migration, it's in my top 3 of best albums.
So I'm a big fan of Scar Symmetry, but Persephone blows them away. So I had Carlos on the show a few years ago, and I never really knew who they were, but then I fell in love with their music. Really great stuff.
Absolutely, and the sweetest guys to be around. You can imagine. They're so nice guys.
There's so many members in that band too. I think there's at least 7 at least. I don't know, but they have to do what they have to do. They got the clean, the harsh, and they got so many members in that band. But it's quality stuff. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
I have to say, Lars, it was truly an honor to have you on the Metal Meltdown to talk today, and it's about time too. I mean, I'm really, really happy that we got to do this, and being that this is just our first time, I surely hope it won't be our last. So I want you to count on my support in the future when you have new releases to come back on the show and to discuss all that you want about your new recordings. I just want to make sure that we caught everyone up to speed and got all the bases covered. If not, is there anything else that we could bring out to the listeners that you want to get out there?
No. First of all, it was an honor to be on the show. It's always cool to do interviews and tell about the stuff, all the small details that are so hard to get out to the audience if they don't read the book, if they don't know what the songs are about. But I love to get those details out to people so they know exactly what they're hearing, and maybe they can experience something else in the songs while actually contemplating the explanations about the songs. So that's the most important for me to get out, and it's an honor to have been on
Thank
the
you so
show.
much. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. That book is like having the lyrics times 10. You have the lyrics, but then when you have the book in detail telling you all about this music and what it's all about, it just makes the experience that much better. And I want to thank you again for sending me this book in advance. Thank you so much for your kindness.
No problem at all. No
Thank you so
problem at
much
all.
again, Lars, for this excellent interview. I wish you and all in Manticora great success and to stay healthy in this
Thank you.
pandemic. Hopefully that it will be over soon. May you have great
Yeah.
tours, and I'm looking forward to the next opportunity that we can do this again. So how about we go crank up some more Manticora now and crank it up real loud?
Alrighty.
Let's do it.